Hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host, Keegan, and this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And today we have a very special guest, and his name is Max Radovanic. He is a men's transformation coach and the founder of Fat2Fit Lifestyle LLC. Having personally overcome binge eating disorder, addiction, and mental health struggles to lose over 220 pounds, going from 430 pounds to shredded, Max deeply understands what it's like to feel trapped in an unhealthy body and lifestyle. His coaching is rooted in genuine experience, empathy, and practical guidance, providing men with structured, sustainable, and custom-tailored plans that actually work. Max is currently preparing to compete in the Radical Body Transformations annual transformation event at the Toronto Pro Super Show in June 2025, openly documenting his journey to inspire others and help more men achieve their lifestyle-changing transformations of their own. So, Max, how are you doing today?
Really good, man. Really good. I'm so happy to be on here, share my story, share what I'm all about.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm super happy to have you on, and it sounds like you have taken your body and your story to an incredible level, going to a super awesome show like that. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and what are you bringing to that show that makes it to that national level, you know?
Well, honestly, it's more of like a transformation event than it is like a bodybuilding show. And what I think I really am bringing in reality is my story. Because at this show, basically how it's laid out is they're going to have your before picture, up on the stage. It's going to be on a projector. And basically before you even walk out, all the contestants, they submitted this. You have a 250 word essay for the judges. And then you have a 150 word essay for the audience that they're going to actually read out loud. And that'll be before you walk out. So basically you're judged on this. You're not just judged, how lean you are or whatever on stage. It's not like that kind of typical bodybuilding show. They grade you on, kind of your writing pretty much and your story, like how, what have you overcome? Like for me, it was, binge eating disorder and, I have bipolar disorder and I live with that, ADHD. And it's like, you have all these other things that you've overcome just beyond your physical, the way you look. And that, especially with my transformation, it's really, it's been, I think, more of a transformation on my mindset than it has been physical. I mean, even though I've lost 220 pounds, like my mental transformation, my mindset has changed so much more than my physical appearance.
Man, well, that sounds super, duper cool because, I mean, that is one of those things that you usually see on TV. Like, you hear about it, and then you get to see the montage of pictures and everything. And so that's a real life thing that you're doing, and it's super cool. You've lost over 220 pounds, and I've got to say, that's more than I weigh. So that's crazy that you could lose a whole me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much half the person that I once was, literally.
Yeah. And I mean, that would do a lot to someone's mental health to really be able to be just an entirely different person because you have literally less baggage to carry, right? Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that. Like my relationship with, I guess you could say, I mean, it's not a relationship anymore, but food was really something that I struggled with in binge
Mm,
eating. And being able to just overcome that, was a battle on itself because, especially with being ADHD and bipolar at the same time, like that had so much to do with it. But the habits that I developed from going to the gym and just like the structure and the discipline that
mm,
like genuinely helped me so much with my mental health and being able to like cope with my disorders, and I
mm,
think I look at them more as superpowers because I mean, I've been able to grow. I mean, pretty much my coaching business really took off within the past like 3 months. And I
ooh,
mean, kind of long story, but like throughout throughout this bodybuilding show,
mm,
I actually went through a manic episode during this entire prep. And basically I had this like grand scheme of like, oh, I'm going to build my coaching business like off of the back of this bodybuilding transformation. And I ended up doing that, and that's the cool part. And it actually ended up working out, and I
Heck
didn't.
yeah.
I mean, it was just like all super quick. So, but it's. I mean, like I said, it's bipolar disorder is still something that I struggle with, like to this day. Still, I mean,
Yeah.
it's caused a lot of success in my life where I can be super focused on one thing, and that's
Hmm.
how I was able to lose 220 pounds actually in the first 2 years, that I just like got obsessed over, like I just want to learn everything about like weight loss and getting like as far as I can away from this body that I was looking at in the mirror. And that's how I like to describe it is
Yeah.
like how I started my journey. It
Hmm.
wasn't like there wasn't like some like tipping point or whatever. It wasn't I mean, I had people, I knew I was unhealthy. I knew what I was doing was like in the way I was eating and whatnot. It wasn't good.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it was just like one day I woke up and I was like, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I want to get like, I'm this me today,
Hmm.
but I'm in this body and I want to get as far away from it as I can. How
Yeah.
can I do that the fastest way, pretty much? And it
Hmm.
was like from that point on, it was like this switch that like just went in my mind, and I literally never looked back since. Like
That's awesome.
yeah, and I mean, I went from like binge eating like every night, and I was also like the friend group I was around.
Hmm.
We also like drank every single night. So,
Hmm.
that was also one thing I was doing in excess, and I was a chain smoker. Like I had pretty much every bad habit you could have. And I quit it all literally cold turkey. And it was the
Wow.
most I suffered for a good 3 to 6 months of withdrawal. And that
Hmm.
was super tough. But, at the end of the day, I reminded myself that like, if I can push through this, like I can get through the rest of this, like no problem.
Yeah, man, that is way too cool. Um, Hang on, I can hear myself really bad all of a sudden. That is one heck of a challenge because I myself deal with bipolar and ADHD, and I know that a lot of my external addictions come because I'm medicating,
Yeah, self-medicating, yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that it's because everything else that I tried to reach out for or whatever else in the past, either people don't understand it or it gets overlooked. And it's just like, you know what, it takes care of the problem and it's socially acceptable. So it works,
Yeah.
but what it is a slow buildup of sorts, right? Until it's not for some people. And for you, it sounds like it really was that snowball effect where it was kind of small-ish at first, and then you just kind of push it over the hill and it just went.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely it has been a snowball effect, and it has been more of a snowball effect, I would say, within the past like 6 months in
Hmm.
reality, like ever since I started like prepping for this show. I mean, it just with the way that I'm able to like, so I had like an Instagram presence before this, and I
Hmm.
documented my journey or whatever through that. But about 30 like 1 weeks ago ish, I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm gonna do this like series basically because I'm like super transparent and open. Like I binge eating disorder, and like I gave advice on like this is what I do after a binge, or I
Hmm.
documented me going through it like on Instagram. It's all on there. And basically what I did was I was like every week I would like do like a weekly weigh-in, like check-in kind of thing, like how am I doing? And this like series I've basically taken for 31 weeks. People have like seen me like get leaner and leaner and leaner, and as well as overcome my binge eating disorder. I'm
Hmm.
also super open. Like I'm on a GLP-1 medication that's really
Hmm.
helped me, and I actually founded a Fat2Fit Labs recently. It's a research chemical company that is designed to provide the same tools that I use that have helped me so much on my journey.
Wow.
So I recently just founded that company, and I'm building that again. With my ADHD and bipolar, just I'm like I can hyper focus on one thing, and like there's different businesses I want to build and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So and it's all just come down to this like one thing of just wanting to help people that were in the same situation I was, because like
Wow.
that's the one thing that brings me true joy in life is just seeing people happy, like because there's so many people that deal with like the whole food noise thing and cravings, and they have struggles with sticking to a diet or this food rules their life. And being able to say like something that that my products help them, like, and they come to me saying, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like, and same with my coaching, that getting people on structure and just having accountability. It's truly great. And it's like literally what I wish I had. And I just want to be able to give that to both my clients and my customers.
Yeah, that's amazing that you have that passion and you have the ability to help people like you do. And it is great that you have that online presence too. So real quick, where can people find you and your online presence?
So I will have a website. My developer is currently working on it right now, but that'll be the main hub for I have my coaching application on there, and I also have all my research chemicals. It's www.fat2fitlabs.com. That'll be like my main site, host my coaching, host research chemicals, and then also, but right now, like I have Instagram's my main platform, but that's Max R Fat to Fit.
Okay.
Just all one word, and then 2, so MAXRFIT, or sorry, fat, and then 2 fit, and then that's also my YouTube and TikTok handle as well.
So whenever you have one company, it wasn't quite enough, and do you think it was because of the ADHD, or do you think it was because you saw other avenues that you could still help people? And yep,
yeah, that was it, because it was originally like me, like providing, helping my clients out with, retatrutide and tirzepatide and stuff like that. I would provide them advice with it and support. With that, it kind of just branched out to like, hey, why there's so many other people that deal with this too that also need help, but like they just don't want coaching, specifically. So why don't I just go beyond, just my clients? And that was kind of how it started, because I actually had an affiliate code with it was a company called Unchained Compounds, and I also saw like how much other research compound sites were charging for this stuff, and I was like, this is crazy, this is insane. Like and I'm like, there's no way I can just continue seeing this, people buying this stuff for this absorbent prices. No, I'm priced out like every other company literally on the internet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's just because at the end of the day, like I just want to help people. I don't, I get more satisfaction from getting like emails and messages saying like how much like I've helped somebody. And it's the same with my clients. I could coach people for freaking free, honestly.
Yeah.
I just love what I do so much.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it's great that you have that passion too, because that passion is what really drives the true fire behind personal change and growth, And you can't really sit there and say, get that from like Self-Help for Dummies book, right? Like you could read it and you could sit there and be like, all right, but whoever wrote it probably didn't write it with that fire behind them. And now some self-help books definitely do have that fire, that passion, because those people have that experience. And that's what you bring to the table, is you bring real life experience to it. And you've overcome. And not only that, you have all this stuff to actually show for it too. And can sit there and say, look, I've done it. You can do it too. So what are some of the things that you've had to really overcome, that your discipline really helped you overcome, that made you say, I can do this, instead of maybe it's not for me?
Gosh, I would definitely say with, I don't know, with like applying stuff I've learned from the gym to entrepreneurship. That's like consistency and perseverance. That's just the being able to like apply everything I learned, like the structure, and mainly just like pushing through things, like when things are very uncomfortable and it seems awkward, like starting. The one, like I often say, I've said this to my clients as well too. It's like the hardest part is just starting. Like once we get started and you develop these habits and you start developing, the structure, and like, getting on like a meal plan, or, just something that works for you and something you can stick to for long term, like that's so much easier than the initial point. Like there's like this awkward, like 1 month to 2 month, like this feels weird. I'm implementing this new habit, and and it's not, I don't like it. But then, eventually it just becomes ingrained. And I think I've gotten really good at getting through the awkward part, the starting part, especially with entrepreneurship. Like I constantly just tell myself now, it's like if I can just like not give up throughout this, everything that I'm dealing with right now,
Huh?
that like I'll be able to make it. And going back to again the start of my journey, going through the freaking withdrawal, that was definitely, I mean, that was way harder than this, you know.
Yeah, withdrawal is definitely a mind game, but it has that physical game with it too, and it is sometimes a literal killer, especially with alcohol and the benzos. So I'm just grateful that you're around, because all of that at once sounds like it was something that your body would have definitely been in a kind of shock almost, and that itself must have been one heck of a fight.
It was not the right way to go about it. I will say that. Like, it was not the right way to go about it. It was a very, like, I even still do it. Like, I often act on, like, first, I'll act without even thinking kind of thing. And it's like, I have a feeling, like, if I have this, like, gut feeling deep inside of me, and it's like, I have to act on it. So that was it was like just all or nothing. That was kind of the mindset that I had. And no, it was not the best way to go about it, but I did get through it.
Yeah. And it's one of those that I can really relate to in a sense, because in some aspects, I think that if I were to say I'm going to let go of one at a time, it would just give me permission to not let go of the rest of them. After I let go of one, maybe. And it's like, well, either I'm going to have some vices or I'm going to have no vices. So.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I mean, it's, in my opinion, at least, it's just better to like have nothing, or being able to direct those, like the addiction part, like whatever your brain is wanting to something that's, again, socially acceptable, healthy. And for me, that was, content creation, building businesses, that was my kind of healthy obsession, and also weight loss and just becoming obsessed with everything about like nutrition and, the gym, again, content creation, everything. I just wanted to learn more. And that was, that was my switch. That's my healthy addiction.
What was the most surprising thing you've come across your journey so far, though? Either about yourself or about the entrepreneurial aspects? Because you've gotten a lot of experience in a lot of different areas. What is one of the surprising connections that you've experienced or that you found between your mental health journey and your entrepreneurial aspects, if you will?
You hyper obsess over one thing, you can easily get a lot of work done in, one sitting, and it feels effortless. And and same with creativity. People with ADHD are often, very creative, and they, we want to, constantly be, doing something in regards to, just creating things, in some artistic expression. That's what I've noticed, at least. Like people that share the, either, the same disorders or ADHD, bipolar, we often all like go to this kind of the same things, like, with like in regards to like the content creation space. Like I've met a lot of other like people that have been on the same journey that I have. And they all have like, we're like peas in a pod. Like we all deal with the same shit. So,
Yeah.
Being able to like, again, turn what is a negative thing, into a positive thing, and being able to harness the, the hyper obsessiveness or the compulsivity, of bipolar disorder and the manic episodes into channeling all that into a business, or, or channeling all that into, helping someone, that's what I've noticed, and just becoming more self-aware, I think, for myself. And that's honestly the main thing, just becoming more self-aware, like what I, like my flaws are, I guess you could say, and what I really need to work on. And then also my strong suits, you know, and then being able to kind of step back and like reflect on kind of everything that's going on and be like, okay, like, I need to change this about myself, or I need to work on this,
Yeah.
This is something that I lack. Because, I've never been able to, I think within this past like year to 6 months, to be able to objectively like look at myself and say, this is what I need to work on. And this is what I should like embrace, kind of thing.
Yeah. Some people would call that shadow work, maybe. Do you know much about that?
I don't know. I've never even heard that term. Please enlighten me.
So shadow work is essentially kind of looking at aspects of yourself that you don't like. So, and kind of figuring out why you may be like that. And it can go deeper than that, but that's a real easy kind of look at. Just saying, what parts of me am I ignoring and why? And it can lead you down some weird rabbit holes. And a lot of the times you'd be surprised that they may be some of the things that you've already encountered before, but just on a deeper level. So shadow work is, I think it actually is from Carl Jung, if I'm not mistaken, is a term that he coined, so that a lot of people do it nowadays, and they actually have some shadow journal workbooks. So you can find them on Amazon, stuff like that, but it's called shadow work. So yeah, if you're ever looking at ways to sit there and be like, what aspect of myself am I doing and why am I doing it? Then that's kind of the whole premise of it. It's really getting curious about yourself in some sense. And it sounds like that's what you're doing, but without following a certain route,
Yeah, I kind of journal in my own way. I use ChatGPT a lot, and like I'll basically like ask it why I'm feeling a certain way, or this and that. And since I've been like kind of spewing my life out at GPT, it knows so much about me, and it'll say, and it's honestly really helped me in a way. Like it's kind of been like, some sort of like feedback system to understand why I'm feeling a certain way, or my what something's happening in my life, and it gives me advice. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
that I've actually been able to apply, like especially when if I sense that I'm going into a manic episode, like like being like doing like breath work and grounding, and ChatGPT told me to do that stuff, and it's like it works.
Yeah.
And I also do work with a coach who helps me with my obviously my nutrition and whatnot, but he also does work beyond that. Like I have like requirements I have to do every day, and one of them is it's 40 minutes outside. I have to do 5 a.m. or 5-minute a.m. meditation, and top three priorities. Write those down on my little whiteboard here, and then top 3 wins from the day. And then also doing the breath work as well. That also, like in regards to my mental health, has been really, really helpful since I started with this coach. And that was like within this past month. So
nice.
It's been nice. Yeah, I mean, coaches have coaches for a reason.
This is true. It's kind of like a dentist has to have another dentist, right? Or I would hope so.
Yeah.
So whenever you're working with your other coach, I'm glad that you said that you have another coach aside from just ChatGPT, because I was about to say, but ChatGPT doesn't have emotions, does it? But no, it almost seems like it does.
No, it's objective, like, having a second like human eye to see like outside, like having just a second set of eyes is so nice.
Yeah. It is really cool. AI has come a long way, and people can utilize it in different ways. Have you asked ChatGPT to make an image that it sees you as after all the conversations you've had with it?
Never done that. And now that you say that, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you can just be like, what do you think I look like based on the conversations that we've had?
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, and it can be like it. I tried it after, I don't know, I had probably 3 or 4 decent conversations with it, and the image that popped out, I was like, I'm actually a little like surprised.
It was like very accurate.
Yeah, it was pretty accurate, and I hadn't talked to it very much, so I'm kind of interested to see what it would do for you if you've
Yeah, it's been
fitted a
my
whole
kind
bunch.
of life spewing thing, and it's like it knows everything about like my work life, the prep, all the medications that I'm on or stuff like that. Seriously, like that's kind of been my journal in all
Hmm.
honesty, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think it would have pretty damn good idea because also I
Hmm.
send it like it knows like my Instagram page and whatnot. So I think it could definitely come up with something that's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah, that would be really cool. You'd have to definitely post it on your Instagram reel. Be like, hey, this is what ChatGPT thinks I look like.
Yeah, I am good at that. That's, Keegan, great freaking idea.
Well, thanks. Probably not my own, but we'll just go ahead and say that the internet is basically general consciousness nowadays, right? So
It's crazy. I
it's,
mean, the future is here.
yeah. I mean, let's see. I'm in Texas. I know you said it earlier,
Colorado.
and okay, I was about to say Wisconsin. I was like, never mind. Someone else is over there.
My mom's there.
Yes, that was it. Because we were talking about Mother's Day, because we're recording on Mother's Day. So anyone out there, happy Mother's Day. Well, anyone. I guess it could work for anyone. Singles dad can be moms too, right?
Yeah.
So, how about this? For mental health, holidays are always one of those things that kind of can screw people up, right? So, what do you do whenever a holiday comes around that you may or may not like?
Gosh, in all honesty, like there isn't really like a holiday that I like. It's kind of sad, but I don't really like celebrate the holidays because I'm
I
like
mean, that's
I
fair.
live alone. I live alone like with a roommate, and
Hmm.
my family is, I only have my mom and dad. My other family I really don't talk to, but like I mean, I call them, and that's
Hmm.
about it. And obviously, we have a very good relationship. My mom and dad are
Hmm.
close, and actually, when I go to the show, they're going to be there and support me and whatnot. But
Sweet.
um, yeah, but gosh, in reality, I mean, I don't think the holidays are really tough for me because I don't celebrate them too much, and that's how my family's always been. We haven't treated the holidays or birthdays like super, like we don't really like go all out or celebrate, and I think that's because it's kind of just like us three.
Hmm.
So, but
No, yeah.
yeah, but in regards to that, yeah, it's I don't think there's really a tough holiday for me. I
Fair
guess
enough.
all of them would be, I just don't really celebrate. As, it's more just like a hey mom, Merry Christmas or that kind of thing. I don't really do anything too festive.
Well, there you go. I mean, low pressure equals easier outcomes, right? So,
Yeah, that's true.
and that's one of the things too, is that sometimes it's not necessarily all about the festivities and what you do. It's just about the attention sometimes, just like, oh, hey, today's a reminder. Like, oh, yeah, I forgot. And as someone with ADHD, we tend to forget a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So there's a reason why calendars exist, and there's a reason why I have 12 of them laying around.
Yeah, well, I've always found it funny. Like we all have our own like weird little systems that work for us. For
Hmm.
me, it's always been I've been trying to like find a new one because like I would always do for especially for college, it was always like to keep track of like my homework assignments or whatever. I've done it for 4 years. I actually graduate literally tomorrow. I'm not even kidding you.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically all I do is I've had this like virtual, the yellow sticky notes you can put up on your like screen. That's how I've
Hmm.
kept track of like literally everything. It's just like
Wow.
writing, I'll update it every single week. It'll be like week 1, week 2 or whatever. I'll just
Huh.
have little things. I just write them down. That's it. And I'll, delete it when it's done. Write new ones on there when and pretty much that's what I've done. And now that I'm not going to be in school anymore, and I'm trying to. My coach told me to get a whiteboard, and write
Hmm.
stuff down on there so I have it visualized. Because I would have
Hmm.
ideas in my head and things that I needed to do, but it was all in my head. And actually
Hmm.
having some sort of like system Also, a to-do list. I have like a widget on my iPhone, and
Hmm.
that's really worked for me. So being able to like have create some sort of system that works,
Hmm.
and I think people with ADHD, we just have our own little like unique way that works
Uh-huh.
really freaking well.
Yeah, and there's not really a way that you can have like tell someone like this is what you need to do with it because it's like it's not going to work for everyone the same. So, super awesome that you do all of that, and you definitely utilize technology a little bit better than I do because I always have that sticky note app, but I forget to have it either over other apps or I forget that it's open sometimes. And so it's like sometimes I think a physical note would be better, but then knowing me, I'd probably just forget that it exists too, and it's just part of the monitor at that point. So.
Yeah.
I'm very much a physical person, but again, I can have like 12 different journals just laying around and they're like halfway filled out. And then I can have some that are planners.
Gosh, yeah, it's for me, it's the complete opposite. I hate writing stuff down. I hate it, and it
Uh,
doesn't work. It never has worked for me. I've tried it. Having the whiteboard, I think, is kind of my start, with
mhm.
that. But it's always been digital. I've just that's kind of been my avenue for that. Just typing stuff.
So if you like digital stuff a whole lot, I think it's called Momo. It's a digital mind map. So like it's really cool. So yeah, let me see if I still have it. I should. Momo mind map or something.
Mindomo.
Mindomo, yeah, sorry. But it's actually super cool because you can sit there and create like your own little web flow charts and everything. And so you can be like, all right, I got this idea and branch it over here. And I mean, I did it for the podcast and it got really, really big. And I was like, okay, I want to focus on this. And then I had to stop it because it just got a little overwhelming for myself because I didn't know what I was doing. So maybe I should go back to it now that I think about it. But I think you would really enjoy it because you obviously utilize technology at a higher level than I do. So check it out. Let me know how it works for you.
I definitely will. Yeah, I mean, I bookmarked it already. So
Well, that's sweet. So tell us a little bit more about your the show that you're going up on in June because people can watch it and everything like that. But how did you get up on there? Like, did you apply for it? Did you get nominated or what?
So I actually had one of my posts on Instagram kind of go viral. It was for one of my sponsors, Flex Pro Meals, and I had my transformation and me, holding one of their meal kits. And James heard it. Like he's like the main guy of like Radical Body Transformation. He's the show promoter,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy it's also a TV show, that Radical Body Transformation is. So when you
Huh.
said, it's like it sounds a lot like a TV show. It is. And he contacted me. He's like, "Hey, your transformation is incredible. Have you ever thought about doing a bodybuilding show?" And at this time, I was already documenting myself week to week, going from, just dieting down pretty much, and I was already documenting this. So I was like, "Why don't I just do like have a set date to go for?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the start of it. He just literally invited me. It was just a post that,
Huh.
it just kind of happened. The power of social media is so cool because I mean, and then that literally sparked like everything. Like, kind of
Wow.
then it just kind of it sparked the creation of my business. Both my businesses, wanting to help people and being able to prove like what I'm doing works and kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so that single invitation, that single post was pretty much the start to all this.
Wow. That is super cool. Social media is definitely one of those things that used properly and put in the right hands can take people very, very far. So that is super cool. I had no idea that it was just an invitation from someone out there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was like the main guy. He just on Instagram, the
Huh.
main Radical Body Transformation page, and he sent me an invite. I was like, and he gave me, obviously, he generously paid for my admission fee because I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. He's like, I'll pay you for your admission fee. Like, I'll give you discounted hotel. I'm like, okay, because you really
Wow.
thought I could win the show. And I was like,
Huh.
sure, like I'll do it. So, and ever since then, it's kind of been kind of my marketing tactic, like, with the show, and it's been super
Yeah.
cool. So,
Yeah,
and
for
also I've
sure.
been able to meet like a ton of cool people like on their own journeys. Like there's so many other people like documenting their stuff week to week and being able to follow them and follow their journey, and
Huh.
it's been great. So, there's been a lot of cool relationships that I've developed with people that have like similar stories to me.
Yeah. Because, I mean, great minds think alike, right? So if you're going to sit there and be in the same boat and you end up with the same enemy or perceived enemy, whatever you may want to call it, and then you have the same cause and all that, you find out that you have a lot more in common, and even your differences make you somewhat in common too, right? It's kind of weird, huh? So, whenever you've come across all this, it sounds like you really enjoy community. Do you have something of a community of your own?
Pretty much, yeah. I guess you would say so. Yeah. Like
Huh.
just because I'm so like open and honest and like transparent about my journey and like when I'm struggling and when I'm not, and it's like it's people are very, I have like a huge like loyal like follower base. Like they're always, commenting and supporting me on my weekly update posts, and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of everything that I'm doing. And a lot of them, have actually become my clients, which is the cool part. They've followed me for like a year or whatever, and they saw literally what I've been able to
Mm-hmm.
overcome, and like thought it was super inspiring. And now that I'm able to help them, it's freaking cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's really awesome. And that's one of the things too is that you're not just leading from a place of saying like, "Oh, this is what I've read, this is what I was taught," and things like that. You're saying, "No, this is what I found out and worked for me. So let's see if it will either work for you, or if it doesn't work for you, you're saying, let's tweak it a little bit and figure out what does work, right?"
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Especially with my coaching, it's like we build a plan that works for you and for your life. Because what
mhm,
works for me does not work for everybody else. And
mhm,
so, what I really try to do and what I try to instill is like, we build a plan that fits your lifestyle, your goals, your schedule. Because everybody has shit that they're dealing with in their lives, and
mhm,
different busy schedule. I have guys that are I have a couple like tech CEOs as clients that are they're constantly in meetings, and they're 100 200 pounds overweight, and they have they don't they don't have the time to cook, or they
mhm,
don't have the time to work out even. So
uh-huh,
so I have some clients that go to the gym and some clients that don't, because
mm,
when I first started out, I didn't start immediately going to the gym, so I'm not going to force
yeah,
that on someone else if they're not ready yet. You know,
yeah,
because you can do a lot through just diet intervention. So
wow,
and so it's like I don't have the same like thing for it. I don't have some sort of like system or formula that I use for all my clients. That's not it.
mhm.
It's completely different for every single client. I will say that much.
That is too cool. And that's the way that it really should be, I think. And I think that that's what's going to set you apart from so many other people because you're leading from experience, you're figuring out what's going to work for someone in their best capacity. And again, you're willing to work with them and you're constantly working on yourself in the same light. So, in that whole regard, it sounds like you're really bringing the whole game changer to someone whenever they come to you for help. And I think that that's awesome because you're not just tackling the mental aspects, you're tackling whatever challenges they're bringing to you, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And just being able to, adapt. Being able to apply, everything that I've learned, throughout my
Mhm.
journey to, help them out. It's freaking great. And especially with at least one of the universal things that I've realized is that structure works for people who have ADHD very, very, very well. I will say that having some sort of like easy, because I do everything off an app, and everything's all laid out there right there for them, and it's like just super convenient. And
Mhm.
a lot of my clients with ADHD or that deal with binge eating disorder, they really get a lot out of the structure to it and the constant accountability. having some sort of like system in your brain, for at least for, I think, for people with ADHD is just super beneficial. And that's my clients who have seen the most success, just sticking to their plan and whatnot. It's like they actually all have ADHD and deal with the same things because they get like super into it, and it's cool. It's cool to see.
So you're almost saying that people are getting really into their plans, and that's kind of keeping them interested too, huh?
Yeah, in regards to like how dedicated they are, I guess you could say, or they're being on track. I guess you could say, hitting their macros every day, or getting checking kind of the list off the box. It's having just having something to go back to, where your brain doesn't feel like it's wandering. That's at least how I am, is like if my like I got to have something like to go back to, some kind of set plan. Like if this is going to get me to my goals, like just knowing that this is going to get me to my goals, and all I have to do is just do it.
But whenever you've dealt with your own stuff, you've had time and time again to trip over yourself and pick yourself back up. But it always sucks whenever you fall, right? So how do you pick yourself up, and how do you encourage others to pick themselves up?
How do I pick myself up? Definitely with positive self-talk, in all honesty. And also having some support system that you can rely back on or talk to, and just having open communication with them. So when I fall down, I always reach out to somebody. And for me, that's my coaches. I have two that I talk to all the time until they know everything about me, what I struggle with. And, I say the same thing to my clients. It's like, just be honest as possible with me, because that means I can help you better. And run to me when you're struggling. So having some kind of support system, whether it's, family, friends, a coach, whatever, and being just open and honest with them is so important, and also being just open and honest with yourself, having the positive self-talk that, it's a hard habit to develop, because I used to have the voice in my head that was always, putting me down, but being able to, turn that around and just be able to, talk to yourself in a good way, and also being able to have somebody else to talk to, when you are struggling. That's super important.
Yeah. I have to agree that having someone around, some kind of support, is super duper important, because I know even though I have learned to be kinder to myself, it's still really helpful whenever I need that external support, because there's nothing like having, it's kind of like, what is it? Food just doesn't taste the same whenever you make it, like whenever someone else makes it for you, it just always tastes better.
That's
Kind
very
of thing.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. Like, that's why people like to eat out a whole lot. I don't know, but it's a very strange phenomenon. I actually had my co-host, he stole a bunch of my gummy worms out of our mini fridge, because he claimed that because he didn't buy them, it made them taste better. So
That's funny.
yeah, he did that multiple times, and yeah, but it was one of those things that the mind plays interesting tricks and games on itself, and things that we don't really take for, either it'll be things that we take for granted that we don't recognize until we lose them, or it's things that we just kind of don't even recognize at all, But real quick, there was one question. Do you have to actually do any weightlifting in your competition?
No, I go to the gym, 4 days a week, of course, but no, it's a show. Like, you step up on stage and pose. Posing practice, that's one thing that I've had to do, and that's been a skill that I've had to learn. Posing takes a lot out of you.
Does it really?
Yeah, it's a workout in itself. Yeah.
Huh. I never would have guessed, but I guess it's because you're actually flexing the different muscles as you pose.
Yeah, and it's kind of an art form in a way, like everything trying to get everything to flow together, because that's one thing we have is a 45-second routine. And the nice part is there's no mandatory poses like in normal bodybuilding. Like, there's no, we're allowed to actually have do whatever pose we want. So just developing a 45-second routine and practicing that, it's,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's definitely a workout on itself. I will tell you that much. Cause like your breathing has to be like, holding your breath or tensing, again, flexing. It definitely is a workout.
Oh man. So you have 45 seconds to like kind of show off. Do you get it like are you going to juggle at the same time or something? That'd be kind of cool.
No, but I mean, shit, you probably could. But no, I'm going up on there with, I'm using men's physique board shorts, and I'm going to do
Okay.
some poses from different divisions in bodybuilding, because every division at least has like normal, like in a regular bodybuilding show, has like mandatory poses, and you only practice those. For
Mm.
those are for that division, and the other divisions don't have the same kind of poses. But
Mm.
that's the cool thing with this, is you can do literally anything.
Huh. Man, that's got to take a lot of confidence to really go up there on that kind of stage and just do all that, because I don't think I would do that.
Yeah. I mean, we have like a little Facebook Messenger group that all the athletes are in, and
Hmm.
and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm nervous as shit," or whatever, and it's like, "Oh, we got this." It's cool, just the kind of the community and support that this entire show is, the entire, for whatever people it is,
Hmm.
week long prep, just being able to push through the shit with other people and that are going through the same thing is pretty cool.
That's pretty interesting. Like-minded people all in the same group, and it's funny y'all have gone through so many different transformations on each other's individual personal journeys and stuff, and now y'all are going through this other obstacle all at the same time, all together. And it's like, hey, we've been through a lot of shit in the past. We can do this one too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just super cool, man. Like, it's been a great experience. I mean, in my
Heck
eyes,
yeah.
I've already won. The entire experience here, I freaking won. In my
Yeah.
in my eyes, like, I don't care if I win on stage. I've already
Mhm.
won personally, it feels like.
Yeah, for sure. You've got a couple of businesses out of it, and it's also because you were able to sit there and turn on yourself and really kind of sit there and essentially turn what you thought was crippling you into a superpower of sorts. So, and now you take that same passion and you go and help others through a coaching business and another business to help it's not supplemental to that. Well, it is kind of supplemental to that, right?
Yeah, research compounds, yeah.
Yeah,
That's how I have to market it.
fair enough. But all those together, and with you going to this competition, that's a whole lot of really just like those trophies build up, you know, and so many doors are going to open up because of that, and they already have, and so many more are going to open up because of those doors. So I'm excited for you, Max. This is going to be super cool.
Thank you, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited too. It's been great. Seriously.
Heck yeah. Well, you've had 8 weeks to prepare for that. You go up on stage June 6th, correct?
No, I mean, not 8 weeks. It's been like 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, I've been dieting down for a pretty long time. I've lost like 75 pounds in the past 30 weeks.
Oh boy,
Yeah. So,
it's cool. So it's not just one of those like, oh hey, let's go ahead and go. You've gotten a while for the invitation, correct?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I got the invitation 20 weeks out, but
Okay,
yeah, so for most people competing in this, it is a 20-week prep. But for me, I was already like
gotcha.
documenting my journey. I was already dying for like 10 weeks prior to that, so
Ah,
I just kind of extended it. But
kind
yeah,
of a
it's
little.
3 weeks ish. Yeah, June 6th. Yeah, pretty much.
That is going to be one heck of a show. So, where can people watch it again?
So it'll be Radical Body Transformations Instagram. All the updates are there. Like also like all the collaborative posts of everyone who's competing. Like
Mm-hmm.
they all Radical Body Transformation James, he posts them always. So and all the links to the live stream and stuff will be posted on there. So definitely the Radical Body Transformations Instagram is like the way to follow all this.
So transformations, Instagram, right? Oh, we'll just go ahead and leave it up right there. Close enough.
Yeah, all one word is or radical. Let's see here. It's radical body transformation. Just one, no S at the end.
Okay. So we'll make sure to give that place a look, and do they take user submissions or votes or anything like that?
I don't think so. No, it's the audience. So the audience that's actually there is part of it. But there's like a judges panel and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Well, Max, do you think that we could get you on the show sometime in the future? Maybe, possibly?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet.
I would love to.
So we'll check back with you. I just wish you nothing but the best of luck, and just gotta say thank you for your time and everything on the show today.
Thank you for having me on, Keegan. Seriously.
Of course.
I'm excited to check in with you, when I come on next.
Sweet. And do you have any last words for our viewers out there today? Because, you're a lifestyle coach, you're a men's transformation coach. What little words of wisdom do you got to plant in someone's noggin for a little wisdom seed,
Gosh, I would say if you never give up, you can never fail. That is the one thing. Just persevere through, if you can persevere through the tough times and, develop that habit of getting through, like pushing through the garbage, and coming out the other end, in one piece, that having that habit is so beneficial to have in your life. So just don't give up. If you look at me for, living proof of that, I've been through all this shit and I've come out on the other end just fine, even better, honestly. Yeah. Just don't give up and take risks. Also take healthy risks. Someone tells you can't do something, tell them screw you and do it anyways.
I love that. You got to take a little bit of risk in life if you want to get where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
Well, Max, that is all the time that we have for today's episode. So everyone out there, be sure to check out Max's Radical Body Transformation Instagram. It is going to happen in June. So check that out. Watch them. Vote for them. Well, we can't vote for them, but root for them, in spirit. That's how we're going to do it here. And we're going to see him in the show in the future and see how it all went. So thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. And Max, I've just got to say thank you again. And I'm excited for you. Thank you for everything that you've done for yourself and for everyone else in your life. So thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Keegan. Appreciate the kind words.
Of course. And everyone out there, don't forget, it's not that hard to be a kind person. Much love. Schlan and stop.